Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another installment of In Touch with Mayor Archive Collective. I am Claire Barrett, the Archives Manager for MAC, and I am so very grateful that you were able to make it today. Today we have a wonderful lineup of poets who very graciously agreed to read their Baba poetry. I've really been looking forward to this since we started planning it, and so I am very, very excited for what we're going to have today. I hope that you all enjoy it as well. And we are going to start off with Joe DiSabatino. I'm pronouncing your last name right. I apologize if I'm not.
DiSabatino.
DiSabatino. I'm very sorry. Oh, goodness. I was practicing all week. Joe lives in Myrtle Beach, where he spends his time painting, writing, and directing Bapa plays, poetry, and volunteering at the Mayor Center. He self-published a book of poetry titled In His Hands, and a full-length children's novel that takes place in the Mayor Center woods titled A Sparrow for All Sparrows. He's currently working on a Baba musical called The Very Thought of You. And whenever you are ready, Joe, take it away.
All right, thank you, Claire. I'm going to start off with a Baba Christmas poem I wrote, and I got to get in the spirit here, put on my Christmas hat, and the name of this poem is The Most First Christmas. And what I did is I took the divine theme from God Speaks, and I put it into the framework of the famous Christmas poem, "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." All right, so here we go. The most first Christmas. 'Twas the night before creation, and when all through the beyond, not a sound wave was stirring, nor mind, nor prime. Billions of drop souls were chilling at the On Point Cafe. 'Twas a buzz in the air. Would the wind manifest this non-day? Rumors flew about mischievous chickens nestled deep in the ocean, content with no visions and zero sanskaric commotion. As for God in his unconscious omniscience, and not me in my red unjamas, we had just settled in for the long night of Brahman. When deep down inside it, there arose the absence of clatter. I sprang from my most original state to find out what wasn't the matter. Away to the surface, I rose like a bubble and broke it in search of what wasn't the trouble. No moon lit the surface of that endless sea. No waves, nothing, capital N, nothing, just good old Saint Infinity. When wet to my non-seeing eyes, should there be puffing, but the most delicate, most first ego shells, and inside 7 newborn everythings. Was infinite unconsciousness just rehearsing for the original whim? Or was this really the beginning of the whole darn thing? But before I could retreat to the ocean's black deep, that's when an unsound began to seduce me out of my sleep. No whistle, no shout, just the original word, humming and purring, a ceaseless reverb. I knew in a flash it must be Parvardigar, creator, preserver, destroyer, universal czar. More rapid than light, the wind's first jewel was shepherding the 7 newborn everythings into the On Point whirlpool. Yes, the wind was stirring. Energy and space started to clash. Then a question emerged from inside that primordial goop. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? As all drop souls were dunked in that original soup. Pravartigar greeted the 7 newborn everythings and called them by name. Now Zoroaster, now Ram, now Krishna, now Buddha, on Jesus, on Mohammed, on Meher, to the top of the chain, to the crown of creation, to the front of the race. Now dash away, dash away, dash away all. as sparks fly off an exploding cannon, so the big bang erupted inside the that pencil point of space-time. And up to creation's pinnacle, the 7 original everythings flew, each with a heart full of love, and Pravartigar too. As for me, as I twinkled through space and tumbled through time, I finally began to feel in my soul the gurgling and bubbling of each avatar's wine. Over eons and eons, I slowly withdrew from my head, fell into my heart. Then one Christmas Eve, down my soul's chimney, he slid without making a sound. He gave me a start. He was dressed all in white, from his head to his foot, his clothes a tad tarnished with my sanskaric ashes and soot. A big sack of wine was flung over his back. He looked like a merry prankster, the ace and the king, the queen and the jack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses. His nose said, don't worry. His grin made his mustache draw up like a bow, his chin clean shaven, his fingers in constant flow. His beguiling smile rivaled the Mona Lisa's. A snow-white garland encircled his head like a wreath. Pravartigar's light streamed from his beaming face. I felt like a rusty chunk of iron, he, a mighty magnet of grace. A wink of his eye and a rocking tilt of his head soon gave me to know my false self was as good as dead. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work. He emptied my red stocking, tossed out all my gifts. Then, as he made a perfect circle with finger and thumb, up my soul's chimney he spiraled like a leaf the wind lifts. Before he sprung to his abode deep inside the 7th heaven, he circled round once with the wings of a dove. That's when I heard him exclaim, ere he flew out of sight, ho, ho, ho! The only gift that matters is the gift of my love. Ho, ho, ho. So happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night. May you awake in the morn in his grace and his light. Jai Baba. I performed that on a couple of Christmas Eves at the center. So I have time for another poem? Claire?
Yeah,
okay, right.
please.
This one's called Love is a River. Oh, faceless ocean, I can't drink you. Sea waters fatal, storms too brutal. Your unfathomable depths for whales, the endless wave ridings for fools, a water world beyond comprehension. For I know you as a humming current singing in the blood, your rhythmic heart waves caressing gently my curving shorelines, or as a cricket singing woodland summer pond, noon turtles sunning on logs, by night the ever-present moonlit croaking frogs. Sometimes as a river you run through me, either down to bare trickle or in full spate. Sometimes a clear snowmelt mountain freshet, you smooth the ragged boulders of me. Or late at night, I scent your spirit canoe paddling the dark lanes of my blackwater swamp, snake and possum hunting. Or once in a great while, you unfurl from above, an angel falls of foaming love, water storming through me, airborne geysers of your grace, transform into fine mist shrouds of divinity that drizzle down into the remotest basin of my untamed Venezuelan heart. Oh, shoreless ocean, you are too much for me. Your wild, wet mystery delights much more dancing through my enclosing, earth-hewn imperfections, because love is a river singing the name Mayhair. one more. Is that okay? All right. I love watching Baba's hands. They're so beautiful. I think most people do. This poem is called In His Hands, and it's the title of the poetry book I published. Baba, it's your hands I love the most. Those finely chiseled fingers cascading torrents of eloquence. Fervent fingers, bright birds swinging and dancing through the tangled jungles of our ignorance. Your hands so handsome in repose, or strong fingers all aglow, massaging the pain of the world, or the rivers of grace gliding easily through your open palms into the thirsty hearts of your lovers. The butterfly of my soul alights on your finger, delights in your perfect stillness, lingers. You dip your hands into a river, lift them out, and 1,000 new universes overflow your cupped palms, start to live. And in a high-rise apartment in some distant city, somebody is suddenly able to forgive. It's our hands that make our humanity, our fingers the visible tendrils of our desiring, shaping the world into our likeness. But your hands, God's laughter, your hands, golden ladles pouring from the bottomless well of infinity. Your hands gather the dumb and scattered stars into twisting spirals of intelligence. He's got the whole wide universe in his hands. He's got our own little Milky Way in his hands. He's got you and me, brother, sister, in his hands. He's got, and your fingers, your star-kissed fingers untwist the closed jars of our hearts. The butterfly of my heart alights on your finger. The lights in your perfect stillness linger. So much of your body was broken, but never your hands. Light streams through your fingertips. Love dances in your palms. The 3 rings you wear: knowledge, power, bliss. Knowledge, power, bliss. Knowledge, power, bliss. In this crazy life, if there's one thing I'm sure of, it's this. The butterfly of my soul alights on your finger, delights in your perfect stillness, and lingers. Jai Baba. Okay. Those are 3 I was planning to read.
Thank you. That was beautiful.
Welcome.
Can we have Tracey read or Tracey recite now?
Yes, actually, I was gonna have Tracey go next. Thank you so much, Joe. That was wonderful. So our next wonderful poet is Tracey Schmidt. Tracey is a working poet and photographer. Her first book of poetry, I Have Fallen in Love with the World, was the focus of a recent 6-week coast-to-coast poetry and music tour. And she is also has an exhibit of her photographic work that is toured around the country. So very, very happy to have you here today. And you need to unmute, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, thank you.
Is the volume okay?
Yes, it's perfect. You have a lovely voice, by the way.
Oh, thank you so much. So I was thinking about doing 2 short poems, and then you could play that video that we shot
Absolutely.
at the beach. As you all know, we're not allowed to videotape on the Baba Center, but we did videotape on the beach there in front of the Baba Center, which I just felt Baba's presence so much, so I wanted to share that. It's called Benacht for Our Death, and it's a Gaelic word, which means blessing. And I wrote it for a friend who died in Atlanta, and it felt at 52. And when I wrote it for his funeral, it occurred to me that I was writing that poem for all of us because it's a path we will all take at some point in time. Interestingly enough, Evie and I are both driving to a funeral as we speak. I'm sitting at McDonald's parking lot, don't worry. But we're going to a memorial in Atlanta for another friend who has passed. I know we've all had a lot of passing with a lot of people lately, so I'm happy to share that poem. But this is a poem I wrote called It's Me, and I was sitting at the Baba Center. I was tucked myself into bed. I was about to go to sleep, and our beloved showed up and said, "Hey, I'd like to help you with your poetry." And I said, "Oh no, Baba, I got this. I'm good." I turned the light out and I went to sleep, and I laid there for 30 seconds and I said, what was I thinking? I turned the light back on. I said, Baba, I'm so sorry. And I wrote this poem. It's me, I said, but the beloved cried and cried until I relented. And now I see it's us that wrote this poem. These love jewels for the beloved and my heart. He makes coffee, a twinkle in his eye. I turn the pages. He makes coffee for our break. And so it goes, this broken heart, like a rock split in two, waiting for the beloved to repair and to write on. Turning Baba down for help. What was I thinking? This next poem is called Shrine. And I was walking in the woods with some people, and a man turned to me and said, my life so far has been like trying to put a very large love through a pinhole. And I said, that is so beautiful and describes so many people that I know. May I have that line? It turned out it was Sid Jordan who started the Promise Institute here in Asheville and brought the great Robert Bly here, who brought poetry to so many of us in the 60s and 70s and started the men's movement. And it'll be followed by Banat. My life so far has been like trying to put a very large love through a pinhole. I have tried to make myself small enough to fit into this world, but finally the shell has rent too, and the shrine of my being has emerged. We are guided home on an invisible thread. One day the distance between ourself and the whole simply disappears. And then the love fits perfectly. There is so much work to do in this world when we could simply choose to be ecstatically happy, to take rocks and driftwood and build an altar to all that is good inside of us, and to set our one shining life on fire. So thank you, Claire, for playing that short video that we shot with a drone there at the center. And that's all for me. I think that takes us to 6 minutes. Thank you, Anne, for organizing this.
Thank you.
All right. Yes, thank you so much for being here today.
Oh,
Glad
it worked out.
Who knew McDonald's had
free Wi-Fi?
Well, I'm going to play that video now, because it really is absolutely incredible.
Thank you. And I'm so sorry I cannot stay on. They are waiting for me to get there. But I will watch the video later.
That's perfectly fine. All righty.
gatekeepers. We are entrance points. We are light-filled and vulnerable in ways we cannot imagine. Our bodies breaking like clay bowls under the weight of it all. This joy, so tenable, so elusive, starts out as recognition, and when we are paying attention, becomes a kind of knowing that fills over the ancient loneliness of this world, which otherwise racks and grieves the body, cracking us down to the marrow. Joy filling the body's furrows that are so deep, they become rivers of light. Sing praises for your life. Sing as if tomorrow will not come, because one day it will not. And all we will be left with are the efforts, love-filled and glorious, the striving to let in the tenderness of it all, breaking down the walls that hold back the beauty, as if we don't belong, settling into a deeper countenance, as if home were everywhere, and you, no longer a guest, but a loved and welcomed member.
I love listening to that. Alrighty. Okie dokie. Well, let's keep this going, keep this energy going. Our next wonderful poet is Arsenio Rodriguez. Thank you again for joining us. Originally from Puerto Rico, he came to Baba in the 70s in Miami, Florida, and in his own words, he describes himself as, "I am a rubbish wagon attached to his train. Sometimes I sing, but even those songs must come from him in spite of me," which just tickles me so much. I love that. Thank you. Without further ado, take it away.
Jai Baba to all of you. So you introduced that line. I'm going to read you the whole thing. It is my confession about this relationship, which is kind of unilateral. Rubbish wagon, beyond mind, beyond the constellation of aggregated elements of form that evolve with time out of that impulse to love for the sake of joy. Beyond the music of the concert and the howling winds of the storm. Beyond the serenity of your silence and the impetus of my vices, you are always with me. In between and during all ups and downs, like an unforgotten yet never learned morning song. It's not my will that causes this unwitting attachment, much less any virtue or right to grace or steadfastness. I am just that last rubbish wagon attached to your train. I'm not holding on to the hem of your garment. Instead, you're grabbing me by the tail of my pain. I'm not ever letting go. And continue with the biography. This was all. I'm so funny to be doing this with you people because I feel like a gardener that has these little plants in his home. Not a gardener, but you know what you do when you are bored and you have a hobby of planting little plants. So these things that I write in those moments like when people plant a little plant and take care of it. But I never, sometimes somebody might come in and say, oh, that's a very little beautiful plant. And I share it, but it's not my intention to do it. So you do please forgive me for my botanical talents. They are very restricted to my backyard. It's a between me and him thing. This one is called biography. I do not know what is more insane, whether talking to you or to myself. This happens more frequently now, being isolated from the crowd. No doubt, this being about has always been strange, opening eyes to see us around and drown in opinions of so many, feeling awed, scared, frustrated, or blissed out, in all measures and times as one passes by. As a startled child, I used to talk to myself in games of solitude, with one or many imaginary players and friends. Sometimes I would feel you, friend, making me feel tender and happy. You were not too talkative, but held me, and I knew about your friendship. Then I set out to fight the windmills in sight and discovered the apples and the sights. I forgot you and became so scared that you came back invisible and held me and explained and murmured and sang till I knew that you always had been around. So now that I am old and contained and the windmills have slowed down, as I talk to myself, I also hear your silence, pointing out a thing or two about me and you. And like when I was a child, I don't understand, but I feel your arms around once in a while. And this one is called a love extraordinaire because it is what it is. A body, somebody contained, so many outside converging, distancing, appearing, disappearing, like drops in a window pane during continuous rain. A night by the ocean shore, a sudden light surround, a feeling of unfolding from stone, a hint of revelation of one continuum field, the underlying angst of separation, an ancient song, the face of light, a loving feeling that everything is all right, trying to remember that mindless moment beyond words or time, trying to go back somewhere, sometime, where love in others was close yet remote, where love within was bursting unknown, till one day a face looking at infinity, captured in photographic image, promises a new life, even if there's no one to live. Those eyes, those eyes of light, those embracing waves took me to your places where I felt the fragrance of your fragrance and lost myself in arms that lost themselves around you. Nobody loves like you do. And the last one, which is a secret that I want to share with you. It's a secret. I know because I don't know. Otherwise, it would not be a secret. But it is an open secret, manifested everywhere all the time. It surges as a gushing, flooded river within and swells like a vast ocean outside, in every point of space, in every flower that blooms, in every misdeed, in every cloud, in every sunrise, in every doubt. It appears as we close our eyes and ears, this beautiful secret that turns the universe around and makes all the embraces and smiles. There is no method to reveal the secret. It is already revealed. One cannot leak it, as it spills itself all the time. It hides in manifestation, so we can play our games of hide and seek and hunger, our lost and found games, looking for ourselves when there is nothing but ourselves everywhere. There is not even an everywhere or a where. There is only an open secret, as something we cannot say, but we all know not knowing, so we can set our boundaries and play. Do you want to name it with a word? Try energy, self, God, existence, love. But whatever sound, whatever glyph, whatever word you come up with is still a myth. The secret has no name, no ID. The secret is we play and hide within the open secret and produce so many lives, so many moments, dramas, comedies, music, pains, joys, madness, and rationalizations. Occasionally we get a glimpse, a resplendence, and it pours like a fountain from without and within. Every point then is the secret, and we are the secret. And the game we play is the secret. The secret is open, and at the same time, a tightly kept secret from ourselves to ourselves. That is the secret. Deborah.
Thank you so much. Oh my God. That was that was beautiful. Can't believe how lucky we got to have so many incredibly talented people join us today and share their work. Thank you so much. Our next lovely person is Irma Sheppard. Thank you so much for joining us today. Irma has been expressing her experiences of Mayor Baba and messages from him in poems for over 40 years, and she is pleased to share them with you now. Thank you so much again for joining us. I'm so filled with gratitude for you all making time today to be a part of this, because this is, words cannot describe it. And whenever you are ready, the floor is yours.
Hello, and Jai Baba. The first poem I'm going to read is something I experienced when I was 15 years old, and it's called Receiving Your Silence. You come to me in the night, open the darkness of my heart, touch where there is no skin, kiss where I have no lips. Bliss me in spreading spirals, having me to know I am not this body, not this mind, this finite named person, this 15-year-old girl. I am that which is. It seems as if you leave me with bones again, heart muscle to ache, to long for your return. There is no one to talk to, no one to tell. And even you I don't know well enough to call by name, to summon to my need, not for 2 years, as I am alone once again, when you in silence speak within me. Meher Baba I am, that which is. closer than your own breath. Now a haiku. I cannot see you sitting in the lagoon chair. You're not what eyes can see. Again, I cannot see you sitting in the lagoon chair. You're not what eyes can see. Okay, now there's a poem inspired by Danny Ladinsky's rendering of Hafiz. The line, I will take you up now, beloved, on that wonderful dance you promised. So this is called This Dance. I know, Baba, I'm not ready for that wonderful dance you promised. Just the next step. Just one more step toward you who never disappoint me. No routine with you, the ultimate bad boy. Always fresh, this dance, newly scored, choreographed with me in mind. Oh, wild, holy one. Haiku. Sometimes he catches me even before I know I've jumped off the edge. Again. Sometimes he catches me even before I know I've jumped off the edge. Next, I have the first ghazal that I wrote. It's called O Meher, Compassion is Your Name. When I cried to you, help me, you answered from my deepest silence. I will put everything you need right in front of you. You are mine forever. Be happy in my love. You answered my heart and I wept, hearing your singular voice irrevocably claiming me. But now, Baba, my ears ring from your bottomless silence while the world is crashing in on itself. And all you want is for me to hold on to your damen. Isn't it time yet for you to come to us on your white horse? Isn't it time yet for you to speak your wordless word? Oh, Irma, are you forgetting how he cushioned the soles of your feet, helping you walk up his stony hill on the palms of his hands? Oh, Baba, in the fullness of your silent love, I plant my feet like a child upon my father's, learning the first steps to love's waltz. Oh, brothers and sisters of the world, whether we feel him or not, he walks with us. How could he not? Haiku. The thread of your love draws me safely through the eye of Maya's needle. Again. The thread of your love draws me safely through the eye of Maya's needle. Here's a ghazal that I wrote at Mehrana some years ago. Oh, Meher, every moment wants and woes pursue me. I worry day by day how to be free. Even my wanting nothing keeps me bound. And this everyday confusion, I feel drowned. How can I ever reach that pure place where nothing is between me and your face? Oh, Irma, come, give your worry woes to me. Let them drown in my infinite sea. Just love me, and love me. Your love for me will set you free. Want me and your wants will fade like the sunbeam demolishes shade. Oh, Baba lovers everywhere, listen to this. His very being invites us to bliss. Haiku. Love he gives and gives. What is there more to ask for? More, still yet more. I don't need to repeat that one. Okay, here's a slightly humorous one, the last one. God is always in the cards, no matter what hand I'm dealt. Sometimes he hides behind the kings and queens, or pretends to be an ace, a jack of all trades, or a humble three of clubs. Hearts are trump, he says, as he plays himself in every round and wins my heart without a sound. Okay, last haiku. The more Meher Baba takes away from me, the more I feel whole. Again, the more Meher Baba takes away from me, the more I feel whole. Thank you, and Jai Meher Baba.
Irma, that was absolutely incredible. My goodness. Alrighty. And next up is Philip Creager. Thank you so much for being here today. In his own words, I would describe myself as being, by Meher Baba's grace, one of his flock, and would add that the gift of poetry from his hand has been an integral part of my life from a young age onward. Also, one of the true blessings of my life has been the privilege of leading Baba's discourse meetings in the Meher Center for over a quarter century. Quite impressive resume. Philip, thank you for joining us today. We have a video of his poetry that I will share. If there's anything you'd like to add before I get started, I can give you the floor, but otherwise.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to make sure you give you the floor. Okay, wonderful. Yeah. There we
Hi, I'm Philip Creager, and I'm recording this poetry from Myrtle Beach, where I live, although I hope to be available on the actual day to answer any possible questions or receive any comments. If people would like to access more of my poetry, just put in my name at YouTube. This first poem is called Life Sentence, and it seems to be the one of the many that I read in Mondley Hall that elicited the most responses from the Mondley. So, Life Sentence, written Christmas Day, 1994. How lucky that I've fallen into this world of yours, now that I'm giving up on that funhouse world of doors. Those days before your pardon, I begged to see the light, while every door I opened shone different shades of night. These days I beg the warden to take away that show, to lock up all escape routes and keep me lying low. Yes, now I'm here in shackles, since he gave me his word in silence, which is golden, and through which he is heard. What's left is just the struggle of ego to survive, but I've got his assurance I won't get out alive. He grinds the grain of gross self to flour in his mill, then pounds the dough till finished and sets it on the sill. And when this bread has risen, he bakes it till it's done, then slices it to pieces, consuming it anon. He next takes heart and cuts up this organ into bits, producing plaintive music until one calls it quits. The liquid distillation that follows in its wake gives wine that's fit for drinking and is drunk for heaven's sake. Who is the one who swallows? Who is the one who's gone? Who takes the awesome beating? Who sings the bloody psalm? The one who gives communion, just read between the lines, is all in one, none other, for he indeed presides. The one who takes communion, as laid out in these lines, is also one, none other, for he indeed resides. How lucky that I've fallen upon his killing knife, that I might die forever and gain eternal life. Okay, kind of switching gear. This next one, that one, by the way, is from a collection called Fragrance. This one is from a book that I came out with in 1989 called Roses, a Book of Verse. And the title of this first of two from Roses is called Let's Get Naked. The naked truth is all around. Undress your soul to hear its sound. Sweet silent music there for all who halt their march for babies crawl. When innocence approaches him, unveiling then becomes his whim. Unzip the heart from its rib cage and hand it to our silent sage. The real McCoy is then exposed and shocks the mind out from its clothes. This time is true epiphany, bare facts that need no litany. This lovely sight which has been born, when from our rags we have been shorn, allows the soul to frolic free and greet our Maker naturally. So drop the fig leaf of illusion and take the path to holy fusion. Just send your clothing back to hell and walk with him, au naturel. And this next one is called Real Power. A power exists which cannot be seen except by those who begin the beguine. It's here, right inside of those who have traded visible might for life consecrated. Found in the heart, not on a banner, and working in a quiet manner. It shines in its silence, though quite unassuming, and it seems to the world that nothing is blooming. But roses are there, just for the taking, should anyone's heart be divinely aching. From sight of rose to sting of thorn, then flowing blood till we're reborn. What power is this he gives to any who sacrifice this world of plenty? Where pleasures have been, suffering follows, until joy comes along to fill all the hollows. Cross and candle all in one, God power serves till we're undone. So sing to him, become his dinner. You must lose to be the winner. The lion of love must devour to share with us his humble power. Blessed are we to have the chance for ego death and real romance. Sing to Baba and he will give power in the transforming rain of his love shower. This next one is called To You, capital Y, and it ends with the phrase to you as well. I kissed those others' lips then, a young, naive whatever. It seems a world away now. This life is so much better. Yet from that gross world of life, a latent mental tether reminds I'm not my true self. There's still much more to weather. But now it's only your feet with kisses I would smother, as on your pathless pathway I countenance no other. And from this new love framework, still fastened to old clutter, my heart lets loose its soul prayer, which here below I utter. O God, be with me always, as I attempt to tender all that I owe to you, dear, in absolute surrender. I have one more. It's a short one. This poem or prayer is modeled on the Lord's Prayer, and it is intended for those who aspire only to be the slave of the divine beloved. It's called the Slave's Prayer. Our Father, who art within us, mercy is your name. May your will be ours, so that this earth becomes our living heaven. Give us this day nothing except you. Forgive us for our wants and what they have created, and may we forgive our wrongdoers. Let us not lead ourselves into temptation, but let us follow your lead to salvation. For thine is the highest freedom, the deepest joy, and the perfect love forever. Amen.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Really appreciate that. That was good. Oh, this is fantastic. All righty. And to cap off this wonderful morning poetry, we have Scott Makeig. Thank you all so much for joining us. Scott came to Baba in 1968 through reading his discourses. Then he flew to Baba's last darshan on the plane chartered from San Francisco in 1969. In 1970, while staying at the Mayer Center, he met a then very rare American returned from a trip to Mehrabad, Mirzad. One beaming smile from Tom Fortson was all Scott and Bob Brown needed to set off together for Mehrabad the next morning. Scott stayed for 4.5 months, and while there, wrote several poems and songs. He has continued writing. Sorry, I lost my place. Writing songs for Baba, and also hosts weekly readings of Baba's messages on his awakening, delivered through Noreen Nachabelli and published by him in the Meher Baba Journal. Again, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And so now the floor is yours.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. No one has asked me to read my poetry for 50 years, but these poems I did write then, and I'll be happy to share some. So Bao had he showed me the scraps of paper that he would write down lines for ghazals that Baba would give him during his night watchman's sessions with Baba. And so he had a box with these scraps of paper with ghazal lines written on them. And he gave me a few. He said, "Here, you do these." I don't know that he didn't use them also. And so in this little poem I wrote, the first quatrain, as I've or the first verse is a translation of Baba's line. I sought you here, I sought you there. I found you here, I found you there. You are housed in every heart. I also found you have no house. You have no mark. No silver sound of tinkling bells the secret of your presence tells. No ripples in the sands of time reveal your presence, nor a rhyme of thoughts, nor bolt of light. You only set my heart alight. And in love's fire I found all space. In a flickering flame I see your face. You sought me here, you sought me there. You followed me here, you followed me there. You followed me from heart to heart. Then I found I have no house. I have no mark. For all bespeaks your silent sound. And this is another one. This time the scrap of paper was the last verse. A silent laser pulsed. I felt a pang. Your swift glance struck. My hopes were flung, and with them came this pain. I danced in joy and cried for years spent buried in hopes and fears and farness from you so ever near. For anger and pride I'd labored and died. But you, in your compassion, muted the concussion of atomic self-reaction so only my heart could hear. And then my mind began to fall out. With Zen archer skill you held your bow and arrow still, till I walked out on the firing range, now all bleeding and pains. I am become bleeding rock and act insane. Beloved, you have torn my heart. Now come to me, or else increase the wound and pour on salt. Beloved, you gave me one lesson, and my heart forgot all it knew. You gave me one work, and now there is nothing for me to do. I am useless for building. My mind's not on maintaining, and destroying isn't my game. It's no use imploring, my heart has gone soaring. In one flying lesson, you gave me love's pain. As Icarus had wings of wax, love fails where sincerity lacks. But since my heart has all forgot, I feel 'twas only you I sought. When I ask you for love's wings, how could I know what daring brings? when my goal is the sun and love has begun wings to sprout, the work is to fly and eventually try to fly out, not doubt why. I must die. Out in the sun the laborers sweat, their thirst to swell in appetites whet. Circling high in one swoop, I spy the scarecrow they've given employ. While they sit in a bunch and eat lunch in the shade, he looks so annoyed how little he's paid. But flying is free, though the price is high. For the cost of desire is to burn in a fire. And the higher I fly, the higher the fire, and the more I am free, the less I require to know or to be. Leaving schoolboys and teachers and rooftops and features of landscape and seascape behind me, I fly where even air is rare, and one whole earthscape I see. Yet I escape not my own fate to tire, and yet to desire to go higher, still higher. What do you speak of work and sleep? From knowing and doing, I've taken a leap, a plunge, a drink, a peak. The words of my heart's poem are broken with moments and deeds and words I've not spoken. They play in my heart their own melody, and no one can share them or hear them but me. No one but you, beloved, can free them. No one but you can cease them to be a weight round my neck and chains on my freedom to live and to die for you beyond me. My freedom to love you is all I would cherish. My freedom to see you is all I aspire. Your state eternal, beyond thought of bondage, is not but the vessel of all my desire. Take these plains of hopes and pains, make a hollow sound inside me. As your drum would I be broken, rather than as rock be free. Hear these broken crystals singing. Your own choiring would I be. And life is not my land. His shadow holds not me. For although love is near at hand, his face is far at sea. For truth has left its dock, anchor from earth away, leaving a key now to unlock. life he left one word to say. And this morning, Erwin shared a poem on his own mailing list, and but it included a message he heard Baba give in Guru Prasad, and perhaps this would be a good way to stop. This is about speaking the word. Baba told them, "When I speak, it will be only one divine word. This word will have to be hearkened by the heart, and not merely by the mind. It will go home to you and bring you the awakening. I am not limited by this form. I use it like a garment to make myself visible to you, and I communicate with you. Don't try to understand me. My depth is unfathomable. Just love me. I eternally enjoy the Christ state of consciousness. And when I speak, I shall manifest my true self. Besides giving a general push to the whole world, I shall lead all those who come to me toward light and truth. I intend, when I speak, to reveal the one supreme self which is in all. This accomplished, the idea of the self as a limited, separate entity will disappear. And with it will vanish self-interest. Cooperation will replace competition. Certainty will replace fear. Generosity will replace greed. Exploitation will disappear. The benefits that shall accrue to different nations and countries when I bring about the spiritual upheaval will be largely determined by the amount of energy each possesses. The greater the energy, however misapplied, the greater the response. When I break my silence, the greatest miracle of all times will happen. Be worthy to receive the divine grace." Jai Baba.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. That was absolutely perfect one to end on. I want to thank again all of our incredible poets that were here for joining us and making this happen. This has made my heart very happy. And thank you to all the people who are here in the audience.